Most crimes of passion don't begin with violence. They begin with intensity, with emotion mistaken for devotion, an argument that feels heavier than the others, a relationship that grows smaller as feelings grow louder. Long before a crime is committed, there are signs, often visible, often ignored. Investigators know this pattern well, not because it happens once, but because it happens again and again. What follows is not a moment. It is a buildup, emotion without restraint, conflict without interruption. And when the breaking point arrives, the question is never why it happened. It's why no one saw it coming. 5 red flags of a crime of passion. When emotion becomes the weapon, crimes of passion rarely begin with violence. They begin with intensity, an argument that feels heavier than others, a relationship that burns hotter than it should, a moment when emotion overtakes restraint and something irreversible happens. Unlike premeditated crimes, crimes of passion are often framed as sudden, explosive acts driven by love, jealousy, betrayal, or rage. But investigators and psychologists know a difficult truth. Very few crimes of passion are truly spontaneous. They are preceded by warning signs, behavioral red flags that escalate quietly, often dismissed as emotional volatility or relationship drama, until they culminate in tragedy. This documentary examines 5 critical red flags commonly found in crimes of passion. These are not guarantees of violence, but patterns repeatedly observed in case files, court transcripts, and survivor testimony. Understanding them does not excuse the crime. It explains how it becomes possible. Emotional dependency that replaces identity. The first warning sign is often mistaken for love. Extreme emotional dependency, when one person's sense of self becomes fully tied to another, creates a dangerous imbalance. In these relationships, separation is not experienced as loss, but as annihilation. Investigators often hear the same language after the crime. Without them, I was nothing. My life was over anyway. If I couldn't have them, no one could. This mindset doesn't appear overnight. It forms gradually through isolation, control, and emotional fusion. Friends drift away. Hobbies disappear. Personal boundaries dissolve. What remains is a single emotional axis, and when that axis fractures, the resulting panic can override moral restraint. In several documented cases, perpetrators described feeling as though they were dying when faced with abandonment. Violence in that moment was perceived not as aggression but as survival. This is why emotional dependency is one of the most dangerous predictors. It turns conflict into catastrophe, escalating jealousy and perceived betrayal. Jealousy is often normalized in relationships, but in crimes of passion, jealousy becomes obsessive, interpretive, and self-reinforcing. The individual begins to see betrayal everywhere. Innocent conversations become evidence. Delayed responses feel intentional. Neutral actions are reframed as provocations. What matters is not whether betrayal exists, but whether the person believes it does. Case reviews show that many crimes of passion occur without confirmed infidelity. The perceived betrayal alone is enough to ignite violence. Investigators note a distinct shift before escalation. Questions turn into accusations. Curiosity becomes surveillance. Fear transforms into entitlement. At this stage, the partner is no longer viewed as an autonomous person, but as a possession that is being taken. And once ownership replaces mutual respect, violence becomes rationalized as restoration. Poor emotional regulation under stress. Another consistent marker is the inability to regulate intense emotion. This doesn't mean someone is violent by nature. It means they lack internal brakes when emotions spike. Warning behaviors include explosive reactions to minor conflicts, black and white thinking, always, never, catastrophic language during arguments, rapid emotional swings between affection and rage. In interviews conducted after crimes of passion, perpetrators often describe a sensation of losing control, as if watching themselves act from outside their body. Neurologically, Extreme emotional arousal can temporarily suppress the brain's impulse control mechanisms. When combined with personal stressors, financial pressure, substance use, or sleep deprivation, the risk intensifies. Importantly, investigators often find prior incidents, threats made in anger, property destruction, physical intimidation without injury. Each incident that goes unchecked lowers the psychological barrier to the next. Violence is rarely the first response. It is the final one in a series of uncontained reactions. History of control or ownership language. Language leaves fingerprints. Before crimes of passion, many perpetrators use phrases that subtly reveal entitlement. You belong to me. After everything I've done for you, I won't let you leave. You owe me. This language reframes relationships as transactions and people as assets. Control may appear as monitoring communication, restricting social contact, financial dependence, emotional manipulation disguised as concern. Investigators frequently uncover these dynamics only after the crime, through messages, emails, or witness accounts. What makes this red flag especially dangerous is its invisibility. Control can exist without bruises, without shouting, without obvious threats. But when control is challenged through rejection, independence, or exposure, the response can be explosive. The crime becomes, in the perpetrator's mind, a final assertion of authority. Prior fantasies or threats of harm. The final and most direct warning sign is often the most ignored. Before many crimes of passion, there are verbalized threats, violent fantasies, or statements framed as jokes. Examples include, "If you ever leave me, I'd kill myself or you. Sometimes I wonder what it would be like if you just disappeared. I'd rather see you dead than with someone else." In hindsight, these statements read as confessions. At the time, they are dismissed as emotional exaggeration. But investigators know that language rehearses action. Each violent statement reduces the psychological distance to violence. In multiple cases, perpetrators later admitted that they had imagined the act before it occurred, sometimes repeatedly. The difference between fantasy and action is not morality alone. It is opportunity, emotional overload, and the absence of interruption. Why crimes of passion feel inevitable but aren't. A recurring myth surrounding crimes of passion is inevitability. That the moment just happened. That emotion made the outcome unavoidable. The evidence says otherwise. Nearly every case includes points of intervention. Friends who noticed warning signs. Arguments that escalated without consequences. Threats that went unreported. Patterns that were normalized. Crimes of passion are not accidents. They are preventable failures of boundaries, of accountability, of recognition. This does not place blame on victims. It places responsibility where it belongs, on the systems and behaviors that allow danger to escalate unnoticed. The aftermath. Silence, regret, and irreversibility. In post-arrest interviews, perpetrators often express shock, not at the harm caused, but at the permanence of it. The emotion that fueled the act fades quickly. What remains is devastation. Families fractured, lives erased, questions that will never be answered. Crimes of passion leave no winners, only survivors and absences. And in many cases, those closest to the situation later realize the signs were there. Recognizing the signals before it's too late. Understanding the red flags of crimes of passion is not about fear. It is about awareness. Intensity is not intimacy. Jealousy is not devotion. Control is not love. When emotion begins to erase boundaries, silence reason, and justify harm, the risk becomes real. The tragedy of crimes of passion is not just in what happens, but in how often it could have been stopped. Recognizing these 5 red flags does not solve the problem, but it gives language to what too often goes unnamed. And sometimes, language is the first line of defense.